So, Ruth,
Yes.
asante sana for receiving us in your beautiful office.
Karibu sana.
As we kick off, please tell me who you are.
My name is Ruth Makena Mugaa, a founder of Gigantomastia Foundation. I come from a family of 4 siblings, and I'm a holder of a Bachelor of Law degree and an advocate of the High Court.
So, you're an advocate of the High Court, but you're running a foundation. What does the foundation do?
The foundation assists women and men suffering from Gynecomastia. And the main reason for me starting the Gigantomastia Foundation is because I suffered from Gigantomastia, and I'm out here to give a helping hand to women who'd have no idea about this condition.
So tell me then, what is Gigantomastia?
Gigantomastia is a rare medical condition of the breast connective tissues, which results to excess breast weight that comprises of 3% of your body weight. You can imagine 3% of your body weight on your breast, on your chest. That is quite heavy.
And what causes it?
Doctor says, or medics say that it is hormonal. It is a hormonal issue.
It's an issue of hormonal imbalance.
Balance in the body, yes.
Right. So, is it genetic, or is it caused by the environment or diet? What would you, the hormonal imbalance? That's what I'm trying to get at. I know you're not a medical doctor.
Yes, but many a times they associate it with diet,
yes.
Your own body mechanisms. You understand? Like a woman, we have so many hormones in our bodies. We have the estrogen, we have the prolactin. You see, those imbalances are what probably we could say cause gigantomastia.
All right, very good. Do you have any statistics on the prevalence, like the percentage
from
its occurrence?
Yes, a rough estimate would be 3% in women and 1% in men.
3% of the population.
3% of the population.
Wow. Then
Yes.
how come we've not had more about it?
Because there has not been any awareness, an aggressive awareness on gigantomastia. Because I can say many women think that having breasts is normal. But when it gets to a point when these breasts are becoming a burden to you, when you're having the backaches, the neck pains, the shoulder pains, I'll speak from a personal point of view. I used to dislocate my shoulder, but rarely could I associate it with the weight of my breast.
So you used to suffer from gigantomastia?
Yes,
yourself?
I am a survivor of gigantomastia.
Okay.
Yes.
So what brought you into the field?
What brought me into the field? I can say it is very passion-driven. Not forgetting I wear very many hats. I'm an advocate. I'm now in the medical field. I'm a comforter. I'm a counselor to many who have this condition. And I can say I'm a shoulder to lean on for very many women who have been suffering from gigantomastia.
Do you have any engagement with the government or hospitals or interested organizations? Because the reason I ask is if it has 3% prevalence
Yes.
in society.
Yes.
And we're a country of 50 million people.
True.
You can see you're talking about 500,000 people who might have it.
Yes.
Something like that.
Something like that.
So
yes.
that's a lot of people who are suffering out there.
Exactly.
Does the government have a policy on gigantomastia?
Unfortunately, no, because they don't treat gigantomastia as a condition per se. Because of the, as I said before, because of the awareness. Many people don't know that this is a condition. It has not been given the priority like you would give cancer, the priority you would give people suffering from epilepsy. It's because the government has not narrowed down to sit down and look at gigantomastia as even a disability to a person.
So what can be done to bring to lobby the government to take this disease seriously?
What can be done is to continue having more awareness and talking more about this condition and presenting the severity of this condition.
And you speak of severity. What are some of the health impacts?
The health impacts of gigantomastia is having very, very severe back pains. And you can imagine when you're having back pains, you see the backbone is the core of the body. It debilitates your health very fast. It gives you cardiovascular issues, and when it gets to a point whereby you're having the ulcers on your breast, it can even develop sepsis. It really weighs down a woman, in that even doing your daily activities are more of a hassle because the weight is just too much. It even gets to you psychologically. Not forgetting the stigma that is associated with gigantomastia. I'll speak from a point of my own personal experience. The names that people would even call me, you know, you're being called a Friesian. Others have walked into my office and the stories that they give me, it brings me to tears. Like, you've been told you aborted children severally, you're sleeping around with men, that is why you have a lot of breasts. You see, it's very heartbreaking just because people don't know that this is a condition. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't know that the person who is suffering from the large breast is sick.
Yes, he's unwell. And let us not forget the self-esteem element.
Right. Now, is the condition life-threatening?
We can't say it is life-threatening because when a person has this condition, honestly, and you slip into a depression, we've even had instances where people have even committed suicide because they don't understand, why am I like this? Why is my body like this? Why am I not like my sister or the other people around my environment? I mean, we can put it life-threatening from that tier.
Very well. Now, how is it treated?
Gigantomastia is treated through a reduction mammoplasty, which is also a breast reduction surgery, whereby the surgeons come in and they mark the patient and they go in and remove excess breast connective tissue and the skin and reconstruct the breast to a desirable size.
And is this done in Kenya?
Oh yes, it is. It's done very well in Kenya. I personally had mine done in Kenya.
Which hospital?
Nairobi South Hospital.
What's the cost of the treatment?
The cost of the treatment is, at the time, my parents came on board because insurance never paid. They never undertook because they consider it cosmetic, which is very unfortunate because here I am, I'm dislocating my shoulders, my back is paining. My day-to-day activities have been hindered because of the weight on my chest. And at that time, I remember my parents paid to a fine tune of 500,000 Kenya shillings.
500,000 shillings.
Kenya shillings.
So the young village girl who has...
you can imagine, who doesn't even have enough money even to afford 500 shillings for food, just for basic needs. What about when you're bombarded with such a burden in your home?
So then, should NHIF cover this?
NHIF should fully come on board to pay for this.
Have you engaged them? Have you had an opportunity to talk to them?
For now, I've not had an opportunity to talk to them, but I have had an opportunity to talk to various insurance companies because coming from where I sit, if the insurance company that I had could not cover for it, what about the common mwananchi? What about the young girl in the village? What about these young girls seated behind me?
What about the men that are affected by gigantomastia?
Oh, wow. You know, men rarely speak.
Right.
They're not like women. But I can tell you, gynecomastia is also an issue. And it sucks the self-esteem out of a man. And from what I have known, most men that I've heard of are vulnerable to committing suicide because of having gynecomastia, because you're not supposed to have breasts as a man. So you can imagine the psychological torture that a man undergoes. It's different from a woman because a woman can live with it because she knows she's supposed to have breasts. But as a man, it's very torturous. It's very tormenting for a man. Yes.
So men also go in for the mammoplasty?
Yes, men go in and have the same procedure done because when they go in, they find the breast tissue. Yes.
All right. Are there any? But it's only the breast tissue. They don't have what you would call the men who suffer from this condition. They don't have what you would call the mammary glands.
No, they don't have the mammary glands. They just have the breast tissue.
Just the tissue
There's the tissue, yes.
that accumulates.
See, exactly.
All right.
Yes.
Are there any well-known people who have suffered from this condition?
Oh, yes. I remember before even I went for my breast reduction, I didn't know anybody in Kenya who had done it. And the person who I read her story was Queen Latifah.
Queen Latifah?
Yes, Queen Latifah had a breast reduction done. Yes.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
I see.
Yes.
All right. So
yes.
it can attack anybody.
It can attack anybody.
When you have the condition,
yes,
are you able to be sexually active? Are you able to have a child? Are you able to feed the child?
Yes, you're able to feed the child, but with a lot of difficulties. Because remember, bear in mind, your breast is so big and you're trying to latch the child.
Right.
You can imagine the child, you have to breastfeed at night. You're so sleepy. The child is crying. You latch the child. You fall asleep. What happens to the baby? You suffocate the child because of these huge breasts. Is it worth it?
Maybe not.
Yes.
But then on the flip side of that,
Yes.
if a young lady gets the mammoplasty,
Yes.
will she be able to
Yes.
to breastfeed?
Most
in
of the women that we have worked on, they breastfeed very well, and even others come back very happy, saying that they're even producing more milk than before.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
All right, all right. So when a patient cannot afford to go in for the surgery, what options are available? What can they do?
We try to come in and assist. When you spoke about the county, when I began the foundation, I engaged very many counties. And they were very receptive. They would give us the theaters, the doctors who have partnered with would come on board and really assist these ladies. Because, I mean, it is a condition that really needs to be given a lot of attention.
Can the condition, though, is the condition preventable or is it genetic? I mean,
you can't see the condition.
Are there steps that perhaps a parent or a person who is aware that there's a history of this condition in their family, are there steps they can take?
Not that I've heard of, because you see, this is something that just happens rapidly. Like today, you can be a cup 34, you can be a size 34 cup B. Like mine, I can confess, it shot up very fast. Like after high school, I just went into campus and boom, I was wearing a bra size 40 GG, and I couldn't explain what this is. But my bust kept on growing and growing. You cannot prevent it, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yes.
If somebody is, I don't know if, of course, you're not a doctor, so, but you maybe since you have experience with this.
Yes.
Somebody who is malnourished or does not get a good diet, right?
Yes.
Somebody who is poor, for example.
Yes.
What I'm trying to say is, if you don't get enough food, do the breasts still grow?
You cannot associate gigantomastia with diet. Unfortunately, you cannot.
Right.
It's
hormonal imbalance.
It's an hormonal imbalance in most cases. But gynecomastia, we can see that it can be as a cause of obesity and a man presenting those hormones in their system. Yes.
All right, all right. So how long have you been doing this work?
It's been 5 years. It's been 5 years of me doing gigantomastia, 150 surgeries down the line. It will be my 10th year since I had my surgery done personally.
So 5 years, how did you start this organization?
How did I start this organization? I'll give you a very brief story. I used to work in the bank, and before that, there's a feature of mine that was in the True Love magazine. And one lady walked up to me, I was by the teller, and she asked me, I read about you in a magazine, and I was like, yes. And she asked me for my phone number, and I gave it to her. In the evening, she called me, she was in tears, and she was like, my God, I never knew that this thing could be done locally. And I walked the journey with her. I introduced her to the surgeon who did my surgery, and I think that was my turning point. There are very many women who have been suffering with gigantomastia but did not have a voice to iron it out.
So women actually don't know that they are
suffering from gigantomastia. Some of them just sit and they're like, oh, I'm a woman, I'm supposed to have breast. But when you start presenting the issues that we're talking about, the back aches, the neck pains, the shoulder pains, to an extent, when you're going to purchase a bra, somebody's looking at you like, what are you looking for in this shop? You understand? It is very, very heartbreaking. So gigantomastia is an issue that needs to be addressed. And I'll also bring up the aspect of support from the family. I have had so many patients walk in and out of my office and they're like, no, my mother is against it. My husband loves me the way I am. But you need to narrow it down to how is the wearer of the shoe feeling. By the time somebody is raising alarm, give them a listening ear. Don't assume that they're coming in just for the sake of coming in. There's a burning issue that needs to be addressed. And it breaks my heart like when a parent says, no, uko sawa. Or when your husband is there looking at you and clearly he can see you're suffering. But there are husbands that I applaud who walk the walk with their wives. There are parents even who come, the girls who will come with their mother and the father, and they hold their hands. Gigantomastia is an issue that really needs to be addressed and should be given the weight it deserves.
maybe it should even be introduced into school curricula.
Exactly.
Because I can imagine that young ladies in high school who have this condition must be
Oh,
bullied.
yes. But I can say when me in high school, I didn't know that I had it, but I was fuller. I had a fuller bust than my classmates. It's up until when I had my surgery done is when my classmates opened up. They were like, do you know when we used to nickname you Friesian? We used to call you all these sorts of names. But I'll tell you something that comes with Gigantomastia. You either come up with a very strong defense mechanism because you have to be strong for yourself. Nobody else can be strong for you. You have to be strong for yourself because you will always be passing by and somebody will throw a comment. So imagine if you don't have that strong coping mechanism, what it can do to you as a person.
Yeah.
I can confess myself, I had a very strong defense mechanism.
How did you use to defend yourself?
You could ask me about my bust and the answer I would give you, my friend, it would leave you asking yourself very many questions.
Right.
Yes.
But now there are so many young ladies who may not be as strong as you are.
And that's the thing. And that is why we need to support each other. That is why people need to understand that Gigantomastia is an issue.
Right.
Yes.
And that is why you're doing this work.
And that is why I'm doing this work.
So what kind of activities then do you engage in as an organization?
We identify the patients. We have done a lot of awareness. And we try and walk the walk with the patients.
Right.
Yes, we try to comfort these patients. Like we try to make them understand that they're not the only ones who are walking in these shoes. There are many, many other people.
But you said you've done 150 surgeries.
Yes.
That's a lot of money. Do you get support from donors?
Once in a while we do.
Yeah.
We do. Once in a while we can even cost share with the patient. Once in a while we support fully. Yes.
All right. Sometimes the hospitals give support?
Sometimes the hospitals give a lot of support.
All right.
Yes.
All right. So, knowing what you now know
Yes.
about this,
Yeah.
what advice would you give yourself, your younger self?
My younger self.
Yes.
Knowing what I know now is that the advice I would give myself is that I should have not have beaten up myself so much, that knowing that I was suffering from a condition that I didn't know of. Which is like, I wouldn't have to be the bully I had become at some point. I wouldn't have to have that very strong defense mechanism, but I had to do what I had to do at that point.
And one day when, after you have, hopefully, when you're a very old woman and you have...
And God is calling me home.
And God has called you home. What should they write on your tombstone?
What should I write on my tombstone?
What should people write? What should they say at your eulogy?
At my eulogy. Yes. I would say, there's this thing they say, I walked the walk and I fought a good fight. I touched lives. And I've been a mother, a sister, and a guardian angel to many.
Do you think the condition can be eliminated?
Unfortunately, no. It's not like when we used to have leprosy. I don't think it can.
You don't think it can? There's no research that shows that maybe...
Maybe in the years to come, probably they will come up with something. But for now, unfortunately, you cannot stop. It's like stopping your leg to grow. You cannot stop your breast from growing. And you cannot know whether you will suffer from Gigantomastia or not. It's not a preempted condition.
I see.
Yes.
I see.
Yes.
Well, Ruth, thank you very much.
And there's one place I also want us to touch on,
right,
which is after the surgery is done.
Right.
I've spoken about a defense mechanism when one has had the surgery done. How somebody even becomes so introverted. There's also the psychological part that comes in. In as much as you've had the surgery done, you have to walk the journey of accepting yourself as a new person. You'll have to accept yourself that you have no longer nothing to fight about. You have to destroy. If you had a strong defense mechanism, you have to slowly start destroying the wall. Because you can find yourself, fine, you're okay, but you're still answering people like the way you used to, because you still think that they're talking about your breasts.
So mental health.
So mental health is very important at that point. You have now to heal from your past.
Right.
and begin walking a new journey. It's like a new lease of life. You can comfortably walk into the shop and you want that dress, you get it.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
I want to get this fitting bra, I'm getting it.
Yes, because you are now in the normal dimension.
Yes, it's like you're a new being. Okay. And it takes time. Like I remember there's some patients who I spoke to. There's one, she told me she even had to shave off her dreadlocks because it was a new beginning for her. Yes.
Well, Ruth, you have an outstanding story.
Yes.
This is a noble organization.
Thank you.
And we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And we hope to see more of you in future.
God willing.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.